Imagine a year, not so long ago, where what you saw, heard, or even remembered may never have actually happened. The year was 2018, and the world watched, almost innocently, the emergence of a silent revolution, the era of perfect digital manipulation. Images, faces, voices, every piece of our visual reality began to be recreated with frightening precision. What began as an entertainment gimmick, the technology of deepfakes, quickly revealed its darkest side, a tool with unimaginable potential. For certain structures, for certain secret societies, this wasn't a technological novelty, but rather the master key, the perfect tool to forge narratives, to rewrite history in real time, to consolidate control that never needed brute force. When perception is shaped, when the very foundation of our belief is undermined, the truth, well, it simply ceases to exist. Have you ever felt that something you saw on screen just didn't fit? Did you notice a subtle disconnect between what they were showing you and what your intuition was whispering? What you'll discover now may surprise you. We're going to delve into the shadows where hidden technology meets millennia-old agendas. We'll explore how reverse engineering reality is the new battleground for mind control, and how ancient symbols and rituals are being digitized to operate on a global scale. The real question isn't what is real, but who holds the power to define what we believe to be. Did you notice the subtle shift in how the news is presented lately? The search for truth has become a labyrinth of digital mirrors. If you're ready to question the images that define your world, if you're willing to see beyond the veil of convenience, write in the comments, "I see the hidden signs." And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be part of our circle of investigation. Because what we're about to expose is just the beginning of how our consensus of reality is being actively constructed. And now, what exactly are we talking about? The echoes of manufactured consent linger from the last revelation, but that's only the surface. To truly understand the scale of what we face, we must trace the blueprints, the hidden architecture behind the illusion. Let's talk about Mirror Mind, a name that sounds innocuous, perhaps like a harmless piece of software, yet it signifies one of the most profound steps taken in the long march toward absolute mind control. Files, supposedly confidential, surfaced from a facility whispered to be the European Cognitive Institute. The date stamped on these documents? 2015, years before deepfakes became mainstream headline fodder. This wasn't spontaneous technological evolution. This was design. The architects, engineers collaborating with a shadowy collective known only as the Ordo Veritatis Digitalis, the Order of Digital Truth. A name dripping with irony, wouldn't you agree? Their stated objective was deceptively simple: to rigorously test the limits of human perception, specifically how the biological brain reacts to digitally fabricated visual stimuli. Could we, the unwitting subjects, be emotionally manipulated by something that never truly existed? The results, as one can surmise from the subsequent level of digital saturation we experience daily, were terrifyingly conclusive. The human mind, that supposedly sophisticated processing unit, showed little distinction between authentic memory and perfect digital forgery. Emotionally, it reacted as if the event had transpired. This wasn't just about fake news. This was about psychological influence built directly into the optical nerve. It was the true genesis of control, not through brute force, but through the silent, invisible hand guiding what we see. This is the hidden power at work, the subtle programming layer beneath our awareness. Think about that for a moment. If your feelings can be triggered by something unreal, where does your truth actually reside? But this project didn't appear in a vacuum. It's merely the latest iteration of age-old desires for dominance. The Order didn't invent manipulation. They simply found a futuristic medium for executing ancient strategies. We are talking about the evolution of occult rituals, shifting from smoke-filled backrooms to server farms. The knowledge they seek, the forbidden knowledge of mass persuasion, is the same that motivated the secretive secret societies of previous centuries. They just upgraded their chalk circle to fiber optics. They are using contemporary tools to decode and exploit ancient codes embedded in our cultural subconsciousness. And if every compelling video, every shocking piece of viral content you've absorbed since that period was potentially part of an ongoing, scaled-up experiment, if every time you felt outrage, sadness, or conviction from a screen, you were merely confirming a successful algorithmic trigger, then what does that say about your free will? This is the essence of the dark agenda, the operation unfolding in the shadows. The conspiracies aren't theories when the evidence is a successfully manipulated emotional response. Look around. Do you recognize the subtle patterns, the recurring motifs, the uncanny similarities between disparate events? It feels like you're seeing the matrix peeling back, doesn't it? Right, I see the signs and acknowledge the shift. But we've only scratched the surface of how these digital illusions are, reinforced by hidden symbols that constantly reinforce the narrative, these silent anchors of belief. If the brain accepts the false visual, what happens when the symbols are designed to bypass critical thought entirely? We have seen the genesis of the digital lie, the Mirror Mind project proving that our emotional core is the weakest link in the chain of truth. But the architects of illusion rarely rely solely on technological trickery, not when millennia of proven methodology exist. They understand that the quickest path to control is bypassing logic entirely, slipping the command straight into the subconscious mind. This brings us to the very bedrock of their operation, the hidden symbols embedded within the fabric of what we consume. Stop scrolling for just a second, truly look. Don't just watch the screen, observe it, everywhere. In the background graphics of that trending news report, in the framing of that massive corporate logo, even in the fleeting transitions between clips on your favorite platform. Certain geometries are ceaselessly reintroduced. The inverted triangle, the solitary, all-seeing eye, the complex layering of the hexagram. These aren't accidents of design. They are deliberate fingerprints left by those who practice the old ways, the secret societies who never truly abandoned their core philosophy. They have simply updated their grimoire. Research from institutions like the Symbolic Cognition Lab. Yes, even the academic world occasionally cracks open a door to the forbidden knowledge, confirms what we instinctively feel. These specific figures are not neutral. They resonate deeply, triggering ancient, hardwired, unconscious responses linked directly to concepts of authority, vulnerability, and submission. The occult rituals of the past, meant to invoke spiritual forces or command devotion, have been meticulously digitized. They are now visual shorthand, a form of rapid-fire psychological influence injected directly into the visual stream. It's instant, silent indoctrination. Think of it as a form of digital alchemy, where the sorcerers of old used herbs, fire, and precise timing to bend reality to their will. Today's operators use pixels, frequency, and algorithms. The goal remains identical: absolute manipulation of the masses. The conspiracies you read about online, they are often just the clumsier attempts. The truly effective ones wear the disguise of mainstream media and viral content, utilizing these hidden symbols as their binding agents. The persistent recycling of these esoteric forms suggests a unified command structure, a true dark agenda operating across disparate fields. This pervasive repetition, this constant exposure to ancient codes, is what solidifies the programming. Have you ever noticed how certain colors or shapes instantly change your mood, even if you can't name why? That is the signal working. Right, I will not be controlled, and recognize the chains being forged from light and shadow. The awakening starts when you identify the tool. But if the response to a simple geometric shape on a screen can be elicited so reliably, so emotionally, without our conscious consent, if the Ordo Veritatis prove the brain cannot filter the fake from the authentic, then where is the boundary line? What separates the targeted use of these hidden symbols in media from the deliberate application of actual spellcraft? Is there truly any difference left between magic and programming? The mechanism is now faster, more pervasive, and far harder to trace, operating constantly in the periphery of our attention. And the next layer of this architecture involves understanding the rhythmic pulse that keeps the system synchronized. We've just established that the hidden symbols are the digital script, the language used to command our attention. But who are the new speakers? Who casts these visual spells now that the technology is so advanced? This transition from physical occult rituals to digital execution brings us to the rise of what we might call the new priesthood of deception. The secret societies are no longer hiding solely in wood-paneled rooms. They are now the invisible programmers. The advent of perfect digital fabrication, deepfakes, didn't abolish the old power structures. It merely provided them with an upgrade unparalleled in history. Every manipulated video, every fabricated quote, every seemingly authentic public appearance that was, in fact, entirely synthesized. Consider that a modern incantation, a powerful spell cast globally, instantaneously. Politicians, figures of worship, even supposed eyewitness accounts, none are truly untouchable anymore. The integrity of the real is under constant siege. The evidence becomes chillingly concrete in 2022, with reports, again, surfacing from closed circles, released by the mysterious Consortium 33. These documents detailed the ongoing creation of purely artificial identities, digital avatars governed entirely by advanced artificial intelligence. The narrative is shifting, subtly, away from human agency toward algorithmic direction. We are no longer just being influenced by people. We are being guided, subtly but firmly, by entities that have no soul, no accountability, only code written for compliance. The mass manipulation achieved a new zenith. The world began to follow avatars, carefully crafted simulacra, rather than actual flawed human beings. Did you notice the unsettling perfection in some of the recent public statements you've seen? The total lack of human error. That lack of friction is by design. This technological leap cements the ultimate goal of this dark agenda, replacing the need for genuine belief with mandatory, manufactured consensus. Faith in the image, the flawless digital representation, has become the primary substitute for actual truth. This is the ultimate victory of mind control, where the mechanism of deception is so seamless that the very concept of revelation seems quaint. It's systemic psychological influence designed to create a populace incapable of recognizing the unseen hand guiding their choices. They've cracked the ultimate ancient code: control the input, control the output. If you have a memory of something important, something that shaped your understanding of the world, are you absolutely certain you formed that memory? Or was it delivered to you, perfectly rendered, years ago? The shadows are deep here. Right. I see the signs, if this realization sparks an awakening within you. We understand the how and the who of the digital lie, but the deepest cut is yet to be explored: the invasion of our own past. If these external forces can construct flawless realities now, what prevents them from retroactively editing the foundation of our past? If your core memories are susceptible to this level of hidden power exploitation, where does the self truly begin and end? We left you with a chilling thought: the potential rewrite of personal history. If the external world is a constructed reality, what happens when the controllers turn their gaze inward, targeting the very architecture of memory? This is where the digital threat transcends mere manipulation and enters the realm of the spiritual, the profound. The illusion is no longer just what we see, but how we believe. The focus shifts now to the Cognitive Resonance Program, a venture allegedly undertaken by the highest echelons of the secret societies. This isn't about faking a signature anymore. This is about engineering mass spiritual states. They are studying with scientific rigor how synchronized visual input, the constant, repetitive barrage from our screens, can provoke specific collective emotional responses. This is mind control scaled up to encompass entire populations, a study in mass hysteria curated with surgical precision. What we are witnessing is nothing less than the birth of a new religion, the religion of misinformation. And like any successful cult, it demands a single, ceaseless offering: your attention. Every glance, every click, every moment spent absorbing their carefully crafted feeds becomes the ritualistic sacrifice. The screen, that glowing rectangle in your hand or on your desk, it has been transformed into the new altar. And the prophets guiding this digital worship, they are the unseen algorithms, the silent arbiters of what you deem important, what makes you angry, what inspires your momentary loyalty. They are the invisible infrastructure of this modern faith. This entire operation relies on understanding how ancient codes and occult rituals translate into ones and zeros. They are fusing the deepest secrets of forbidden knowledge with cutting-edge data science, creating an unbreakable feedback loop. This continuous psychological influence is the cornerstone of their dark agenda. Have you ever noticed how quickly public sentiment can pivot on a single, emotionally charged piece of content? That pivot isn't organic, it's engineered resonance. It's the deliberate activation of the programmed emotional triggers we discussed earlier, amplified by the sheer volume of the data stream. To achieve this level of total societal alignment, there must be a central text, a foundational doctrine outlining the core tenets and narratives that must be accepted without question. We saw the rise of the digital avatar, the digital spell, and now we confront the manual dictating its use. If the image is the spell and the algorithm is the priest, then there must be someone holding the master copy of the liturgy. This deep dive into engineered belief requires a recognition that our individual truth is being systematically undermined by a shared, imposed narrative. Right, I see the signs and acknowledge the intensity of this awakening. But if the images are spells and the algorithms are the scribes writing the law, where does that leave the source code of this entire operation? What happens when the very script these prophets follow is itself compromised or designed to lead us somewhere we never intended to go? We have traced the lineage of control from cognitive testing to the digital altar, understanding that our very perception is the new frontier for mind control. We saw the rise of the algorithmic priest, the modern prophet of disinformation. But this entire edifice, this complex structure of hidden power and synthetic reality, rests on one final terrifying premise. The past dictated obedience through physical presence. The present demands it through visual acceptance. Consider the transformation. Centuries ago, the custodians of the esoteric, the keepers of forbidden knowledge, etched their hidden symbols onto enduring stone, trusting in the slow march of time and the dedicated few who sought out their secrets. These occult rituals were cloaked in obscurity, accessible only through arduous paths. Now, the medium has changed, but the intent remains terrifyingly intact. They no longer carve on granite. They etch illusions directly onto pixels, propagating them across fiber optic cables at the speed of light. The sacred has been entirely digitized, and in that process, something vital was lost: truth. The deepest layer of this conspiracy isn't the creation of a single lie. It's the systematic replacement of reality itself. Deepfakes, sophisticated synthetic media, don't just distort what is real. They function as perfect substitutes, versions so compelling they erase the need for the original. When any event, any statement, any historical record can be manufactured flawlessly on demand, the concept of objective fact dissolves into the shadows. This is the ultimate manipulation, a global-scale dark agenda where accountability vanishes because nothing verifiable remains. And if everything can be fabricated, if every piece of evidence can be dismissed as a potential deepfake, what remains as the singular, ultimate source of authority? The final lever of hidden power is not control over what people do, but control over what they are allowed to believe. The psychological influence culminates here. The power rests solely with the entity that dictates the accepted narrative, the reality that is enforced through ceaseless visual repetition. This is the ultimate expression of the ancient codes applied to the digital age. It's the ultimate awakening to realize that your most cherished beliefs might be products of the system. Have you ever stopped to consider that the most effective form of subjugation leaves the subject feeling entirely free, entirely informed, even as they march to a tune they didn't choose? Right, I see the signs if this final piece resonates with the feeling of being controlled. The structures of the secret societies have perfected their craft, evolving their methods of mind control from whispered secrets to inescapable visual saturation. They didn't just hijack the news, they hijacked meaning. But if the objective has always been to control the perception, to own the internal narrative, then the question shifts beyond who controls the screen and focuses on what they are actively shielding us from seeing when they are busy constructing these perfect digital worlds. What critical, unsimulatable reality are they forcing us to ignore while we are distracted by the spectacle? You've navigated the labyrinth, witnessing how the tools of deception have evolved from crude forgeries to perfect, seamless digital realities. You've seen the hidden symbols weaponized, the rise of the algorithmic priesthood, and the frightening shift where our collective truth is being manufactured piece by piece. If you are still with me now, having absorbed the depth of this mind control infrastructure, you are no longer just a viewer. You are initiated into the early stages of awakening. The question that now hangs in the digital ether, the one we must address as we step out of these shadows, is whether the programming has reached the final stage, the total erasure of genuine memory. We've explored the manipulation of the present, the infiltration of the symbolic, and the engineering of mass belief. This journey into forbidden knowledge isn't about shock value. It's about equipping you to see the walls for what they are. The architects of this dark agenda, these modern secret societies, rely on apathy, on the assumption that most people will never dig this deeply, never connect the dots between 2018 deepfakes and ancient occult rituals. But you did, and that connection, that moment of revelations, is the first true act of defiance against pervasive psychological influence. If this shared understanding, this whispered realization of the unseen reality, has value to you, if you recognize the urgent need to continue peeling back these layers of conspiracies and decode the ancient codes that govern our perception, then solidify your presence here. This channel is becoming a sanctuary for those who refuse to be controlled, a place where the pursuit of truth is paramount. Mark your commitment. Let the unseen forces know where you stand. Leave a symbolic marker below, a declaration that you are actively choosing clarity. Right, I see the hidden truth. It's a small gesture, but in this digital space, it forms a unique connection. And if the revelations shared here have successfully managed to bypass your conditioning, if this content resonated beyond mere entertainment, consider registering your silent approval with a like. It's the algorithm's cue that genuine inquiry still exists. But know this investigation is far from over. The groundwork we've laid concerning synthetic realities and engineered faith is merely the foundation. The next phase requires us to examine the very infrastructure they use to distribute these carefully crafted illusions, the physical points where digital magic becomes real-world compliance. To continue this continuous thread of revelations, follow this thread immediately into the next transmission, where we dissect the silent network that binds the controllers to the controlled. The final barrier to understanding is structural, not conceptual. What happens when you trace the network backbone connecting every major platform back to a single, verifiable source?